ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಮೇನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆದಮೇಲೂ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾ? ನೌ ಈಸ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಟು ಕಮ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ. So that we can engage each other, so we can make it more interactive anta. It's okay. Yeah. So very good morning everyone. Okay. So once again congratulations for your success, but at the same time I would like to tell those people who didn't clear. So I am sure some of your friends, some of your those who are in your peer group were not able to make it. Tell them that their time will come next year. We have to identify, you have to identify your mistakes. I am sure you people identified your mistakes based on your last experiences. That should be done immediately. Those who didn't clear, identify your mistakes immediately and start working on them. Right? There is no time to get depressed over the result, ponder over the result, what happened, because the marks will be out in the month of I think April. So till then you cannot wait. So in the morning I was talking with a parent, I was expecting his result, but he had an issue with handwriting. He used to write brilliant answers, brilliant essays, but there was an issue with handwriting. I used to tell him, he tried to do it, correct the handwriting issues, but something which is developed over a period of 15-20 years in childhood, it is very difficult to change it. So I told them to immediately to take classes from now itself and start working on them. So like that there may be issue with optional, issue with essay, whatever it is, identify it, and simultaneously you need to work on your so online audience I am telling this, those who may be watching it, those who haven't cleared, so start working on them. So wish you all the best. So Insights and me, we are always there with you. Now coming to you people who have cleared this year mains, how many of you started interview preparation? Good. Okay, so after mains you started interview preparation, like something to, you identified your hobbies, interests, and then started working on them. So that is good. So in this session I will first discuss about DAF 2, right. So what are the important points to remember while filling the DAF 2. So then we will move to what happens, what transpires in the interview hall, right. So you might have given, there are some people who have given interviews previously. Assuming most of you are going to give your interview for the first time, there are some issues that you must be well aware of, before you start your preparation. So that in the second part I will discuss. So in the third part, any question you have regarding interview, you feel free to ask. We will discuss all of those questions, right. Now coming to DAF 2, so we have so many columns there, right. So first of course, so DAF 1 you have filled about your work experience, educational background, the parents details, so your category, caste, optional, everything. So some of them are getting repeated here, but three most important parts are, one is particulars, at the university, state, national level in respect of, there are 4 columns: prizes, medals, scholarships, sports, NCC, position of distinction, leadership held in school, college, and then extracurricular activities and interests, right. Now this part is very important, all of us know it, and then there is service preference and then cadre preference, right. So that also briefly we will discuss, service and cadre preference also. Now just to boast about myself, to talk about me regarding this whole interview guidance and preparation. So last 2 years itself, I think I have taken one-on-one mocks for more than 900 students, 900 candidates. So in 2021, 20 CSE it was for 535 candidates. So last year it was for 400 candidates, right. So most of them were able to, improve their scores. Those who had given previously and had scored low marks, they were able to improve their scores, and many of them got 190 plus, 200 plus scores. They were able to improve that scores. Some of the freshers like Avinash and all, they were able to score 198 in their very first attempt. So it happened previously, like Jaydev, he was able to score 206 in his very first interview. So like that also we have many cases where I took multiple marks. So my approach for interview preparation is twofold. One is understanding you better through multiple interactions, right? So you may be already good with respect to so many academic achievements. With respect to personality traits, you may not be having fear of public speaking, you may not be having any anxiety issues when you face individuals or a panel or anything. But even then, through multiple interactions, I will be able to identify few of the issues in relation to the demand of the UPSC personality test. So this is not any corporate interview or any random interview to post on YouTube channel, right? So I don't post my one-on-one interviews on YouTube, right? So only the glimpses of it, but we don't post complete interviews, because I believe that it is more like a private interaction. So where we are trying to identify mistakes and trying to correct them. So 1 mark, 2 mark, the basics will be identified. So further marks with respect to depth in your answers, right? So first, second mark are usually related to body language, something related to some of the nuances that you may be missing in your communication, right? So for example, corporate people have a way of speaking, where they don't use sir, right? So where their language tends to be a bit informal, right? So that we need to correct. And then moving forward, once we start discussing about issues based on DAF and also not based on DAF, in general issues, the focus will be on the depth of your understanding. So for me, that is the most important factor when it comes to interview, your ability to bring depth in your answer and diversity in your answer. So depth and diversity in your answers are important, because to further my conversation with you, I need to get something from you where you have to evoke my curiosity, evoke my interest in what you are responding, in what you are conveying, in what you are trying to communicate. So then only I will be able to have a meaningful conversation with you. So if your answers are defensive, superficial, if they lack any kind of depth, any kind of dimensions, if they are generic, so what we usually hear, obvious answers. So then what happens, I or any other interviewer will stop there and then they will jump to another random question, right? So when there is another random question, what happens? It becomes a bit unpredictable for you, right? So it jumps from one issue to another issue, one topic to another topic. So there won't be a kind of coherence, right? Involvement in the room. So when you are talking about any issue, so that will be the focus of the further marks, right? So we will identify how we can make you engage with the panel about multiple issues. But that is in the mock interview, but the starting point is always the DAF, right? So in the DAF itself, I should have certain keywords, right? Where, because see, before you enter the hall, right? So what I have in front of me is, of course here you people are familiar, in the real interview, you are a stranger, total stranger to the panel, right? So they don't have any idea about you, absolutely no idea about you. So they are given your detailed application forms or maybe summary sheet for all the panel members, 5 of them will be there. So one is obviously one UPSC member, so other 4 are drawn from different areas of public service. So one may be from defense, 2 may be from one IPS or one foreign service, and another one serving vice chancellor of university, any academician. So one compulsory one academician will be there, and one from defense will be there, 2 from civil services will be there in these 4 members. So one obviously again the UPSC chairman. So these 5 individuals who are sitting in the panel, who are about to interview, before you enter the room, all they have is your DAV. So they are going through your first photo, right, and then your name, date of birth, which place you are coming from, your parents' names, right, so your category, and then your parents' profession, so right, and then your education background, have you done post graduation or not, and your academic excellence, academic performance, and then any job experience, right, number of attempts that you have given in the previous years, and then so their focus will shift to your personality. Now everything is related to common to everyone, right, in a way that everybody is a graduate, everybody, right, they have these things common, but here is the area where things might be slightly different from individual to individual. So one may be very good in extracurricular, one may not be very good in extracurricular, one may be an accomplished sports person, right, might have participated in national, state level events. So one may be again as part of academics only, might have published papers in international journals, right, so participated in international events, national events, won gold medals, everything. And then there is hobby section. So what they are looking at is the hobby section, prize, medal, scholarship, like you might have won big scholarship, prize, medals, so that we know about it. Sports, NCC, good, if you have mentioned them. Position of distinction, leadership held in school or college, right. So it can be from school level, your class representative to whatever highest level you have reached. Now other extracurricular activities and interests such as hobbies, etc., right. So this is one area where the panel, or when I am doing mock interview, for me it indicates what you are passionate about, right. So as an individual, as an educated individual, as somebody who is aspiring to become part of civil services, right. So what are you passionate about? When you have passion, it can be a hobby or it can be interest, it can be any extracurricular that you did as part of your school, college days, even you can put that also, right. It need not be a continuous affair that you have been doing. So as part of extracurricular, if you had pursued a course, something that was not part of your academics, so feel free to mention that. And as this is about passion, now when I am using the word passion repeatedly because most of the people write these things, but the passion will be lacking. So they write watching cricket, they write playing cricket, playing badminton, gardening, cooking, right. So there are like many common hobbies and interests that many people share, they have that. So when you start asking questions, what people do is that they go defensive, right. So there are two category of people. One category goes defensive when I start asking these questions because somewhere that passion is lacking. The meaning of passion is that you might not have actually pursued them continuously or with so much of deep interest in that. So you are not able to talk about it with passion. If you have done that continuously, you like what is the passion? What is the meaning of passion? That the deep involvement in what you have done, right? So you have put your heart and soul into it, and you have done out of what is the meaning of passion, right? So in your answers also that passion will be evident when you talk about it, because the moment I ask that question, people who are passionate about it, they smile, they actually relax, right. So people who have just put it for the sake of the DAF, right, so in the last minute, so their face actually is not relaxed, it gets tightened, the sweating will happen, and then the answers will be bit defensive side. So now you have to be very careful when you are filling this particular section here. There are things that you might have done, right, but you may not be aware of, in the sense that you might be thinking that it is silly thing to mention in UPSC DAF, right. So don't do that. I told people who came after mains for interview guidance, anything that you have done from class 1 to your graduation days or even now, write everything, right, in a paper, everything, like anything outside the school or as part of the school, any competition or anything you have done, mention each and everything, right. So you bring them here. So based on its uniqueness or where you are really passionate about, so we will finalize 3-4 of these things, right. Now when you are writing them, again the writing is also important, the way you write about them. For example, yesterday I was just going through someone's tab, the painting was there, painting just one word as part of extracurricular. Then I started asking her question, okay, so what kind of painting, what do you do? Then she said that I not only paint, I also sell them, right. So now why didn't you write the selling part here, right. So then I asked her to show any painting you have done. I was just curious, if you are selling means you must be good in painting, if someone is buying your paint means they must be good, right. So show. Then in the Instagram I saw they were really very good, they were looking very professional, right. Now you are going to UPSC interview, you are just mentioning painting, and there are people in school days they might have done like some 1 or 2 painting and still mentioning painting here also. Now how do I distinguish between somebody who is passionate about painting, somebody who is not? So there is a chance of just ignoring it, right, just ignoring it, because I see it 5 people writing out of 10 people. It happens with cricket, it happens with watching movies, it happens with listening music, right. So you are not specific about what exactly you are passionate about within cricket, right, or within movies. There are variety of movies, so many genres of movies are there, right, and so many regional types of movies are there, like you are not being specific about it. So now I will just ignore it, assuming that it is maybe just filled for the sake of filling. So I told her mention painting and selling these paints, right. So now selling indicates the passion, right. Your not only passion, it also indicates leadership skills, that it is not easy, like you are painting, many people do that. Now going after people or just growing your network and then selling those paints, how many of us do it, even if you are an artist, right. So while pursuing UPSC you are doing that, that is a good thing about you, so that you have to mention. So similar thing happened with one more girl, again painting, but she was fond of I think Mysore painting, Mysore, that gold color, so I think it's called Mysore tradition or something. So that was not mentioned. I asked her, you mention, if you are only doing that kind of painting you have to mention. So she was doing professionally, but it was not mentioned it. So like that you have to introspect deeply about any hobby, any interest you have, and try to be very specific about them, right. So that when I ask a question you actually feel happy about it, to talk about it. Second thing is, don't force yourself to fill this particular section. It is perfectly alright. I am not trying to say this to as a consolation or as to make you feel good. It is perfectly okay to leave it blank or just write 1 or 2 words also, right. For me this second strategy is more beneficial, it works better if you create least expectation in DAF, right. In the course of interview you exceed the expectation, right. So you are not hyping up, like you are not just creating too much of expectation, you are putting limited things, but through your responses, when the first question starts, through your answer, the depth you are bringing, right. So that will become, they will leave aside, they will put aside the DAF, because they are getting so much of content, leads from your answer. From there it can continue. So this second part, the second aspect, I think this is more interesting for me than somebody creating too much expectation and then not meeting up to that expectation. As I said, they will have the DAF in front of them, so an image is created about you, before you enter, right. So if you have mentioned too many things, so the expectation is obviously high that you are somebody who has accomplished so many things and you have done so many things in life. Definitely they want to ask difficult questions. Difficult in the sense that should match with what you have represented in the DAF. So they want to ask that kind of question in the very beginning itself. Or even if they ask simple question, they expect answers proportionate to what you have put here, the depth. So if that is not matching, then the scores will inevitably go low, right? So the best bet here is that create less expectation, prepare so well that when you go to interview you don't have pressure or any fear, because right, anyway you are not afraid here, like you are just put one or two things, you don't have to prepare so much about them, you are reading something about everything and you are relaxed and you are giving more scope to thinking on your own, right? So this becomes more interesting actually. So here now what is, have you identified all your hobbies and interests now? What about you people? Yen Madhu? Same last year. Finalize agidya? Good. Still finalizing. Behavioral economics. Maithili literature. Reading Maithili literature. Good. So, if you have very unique hobby, keep it a secret, don't mention it, right? So still there is tendency to, have you all identified? Okay, that is important, Now the strategy I adopted, to tell people how can we start here, like if you haven't identified, if you are still confused about it. Now people have interest in something, but they are not aware about it, or they don't think they have interest, because as part of general studies preparation you have read so many things, right? Basically it encompasses everything, the general studies preparation, so you don't distinctly see it as a hobby or interest. For example, what I am trying to say is that you might be so much interested in knowing about various startups, technologies involved in agriculture. So out of curiosity, out of interest, not as part of the exam preparation, though that syllabus is there, e-technology for the aid of farmers, that is there. But what we do is that, like you get some notes, you prepare some content for that, schemes or whatever it is, but you have gone bit extra and read journals and blogs related to that, any news article that keeps coming about startups in agriculture. You are aware about the trends, how they are doing, how they are performing, how much fund they are getting, how much of them have succeeded, what kind of innovative technologies they are integrating when it comes to agriculture, right? And you might have studied what Israel is doing in this regard, what Australia is doing in this regard, what countries with like Japan where they don't have huge land, so what they are doing about these technologies. So this is purely out of interest. You might have done now and then, not on a regular basis, everyday basis, but whenever the topic has come, you have shown bit extra interest. That topic compulsorily put here, right? So at least you have interest in that, right? From there you can take it forward. Even if you lack depth in that, you can identify, and there are n number of sources for them. So 10 to 15 days you can holistically prepare on them. So like that, identify first as a starting point. From the syllabus itself, extrapolate. There is like space topic is there, right, in the syllabus. So it doesn't talk about what NASA does, right? What China does, what Russia is doing with respect to space exploration, or what private companies like Virgin Atlantic or this Tesla guy Musk, what they are doing. They don't, SpaceX, what they are doing, the syllabus doesn't talk about. But for some reasons you are so much interested in SpaceX, right? So you are following every kind of mission, space mission that is launched by SpaceX. You are aware of the kind of rockets, the kind of engines they are building, the kind of technology. For example, you must be aware, right? He has built a reusable rocket. So when it launches satellites and then comes back and lands on this specific location vertically, right? So in few instances it failed in the beginning. So now it is like it has become a regular affair. So it flies, it comes back, and it is like, I think it's a taller than the Statue of Liberty. You know, the height of that rocket, you know, the weight it has. So they are using some wonderful technology. I keep asking this to anybody with, you know, mechanical engineering background, right? So you must be aware of this, like what is the technology they are using to ensure that, you know, the rocket doesn't land horizontally, or the rocket doesn't land in the ocean. So it is, there is a platform in the ocean, so there is a circle and it comes and lands there, right? So now what is the technology they are using? So out of interest, out of curiosity, you know about it. Similarly, I asked, okay, now there was this Mars mission, right? What is that? No, not Indian, NASA. So there is one Perseverance, right? Yeah. So mission Perseverance, Mars mission, it started sending high definition photos and videos from Mars to India. Now it is difficult to send from my cabin to here, you know, sometimes because of the internet quality here. Now I was curious to know how they are able to send high definition images, videos from Mars to anybody with electronics and communication, you know, in their, as part of engineering background. I was asking this question, how is it doing, right? So if I know that, you know, you may be not aware of that, but for some reasons if you are aware of that, two things, you may be aware of it by virtue of reading about it. Second one, you might take an intelligent guess because of your hold on the subject, the basics of communication, right? So the second one will be more impressive than the first one. So the second one shows the strong presence of mind. So in the pressure of interview, you are able to think logically, right, about the probable right answer and, you know, give the solution. So like that, everyone, I believe, will have 3-4 such interests, right? You might not have read books, non-fiction, you might not have read fiction books or anything. Still, I am sure you would have read now and then few extra articles related to like 3-4 subtopics like this. So please identify them, right? At least one you must put, if not 2 to 3. Minimum to maximum 3 is ideal in this section, right? Like say you even if you have like 10 different achievements, even then better to put only maximum 3 very individualistic, unique hobbies or interests rather than dumping everything, right? So that actually the idea here is that to engage 5 members, right? So one will pick one keyword, another will pick another keyword, another, right? Out of 5 members, if you can engage 3 to 4 members, right? If you can stay in your comfort zone throughout the interview when they are asking these questions. So this is most important. You staying in your comfort zone, right? Because of the things you have mentioned. So they keep talking about, asking about them, you keep talking about them. So the throughout the interview, during the course of 20 to 30 minutes, you are in the comfort zone. That makes a huge difference, right? So here not your answers, not your knowledge, but basically your presence, your personality during that time, 20-30 minutes, which is relaxed, which is calm, right, which is not afraid to answer their questions. So that will get you minimum 180 plus marks. So last 2 years what I have observed is that anybody with strong personality traits, even when they are lacking in the knowledge quotient, they are able to walk out with 180 to 187 marks. So strong personality traits means what? So what are the personality traits that they are testing in the interview hall? Being humble, okay. Confidence, good. Being calm and composed. Taking balanced view. So I'll come to this, taking balanced view, right. Communication, good communication skills, good, good listener, very good. Being honest in your answers, right? Absolutely right. And then, huh? Positive mindset, good. It's actually a good point. I say constructive thinking, so which is nothing but positive mindset. Yes, very good. Curiosity. Yeah, good communication skill, not fumbling and of course, very good. Then, not getting defensive. Yes, so I'll give one or two instances where people get defensive or unknowingly give excuses or justifications for certain questions. Then, open and assertive. Vocal and assertive. What do you mean by vocal? Okay. Assertive definitely. That good. Then, good eye contact as part of confidence. When you are confident, the eye contact will be strong. Your body language will be strong. Less? Yeah, so that is the balance you have to find between humility and being submissiveness. You have to find a balance. Unfortunately, people from south, especially boys, I have seen have this problem. Right? I am not generalizing. There is some cultural issue here. So when I go to north, even if some people are not well, versed with things, they are confident in their attitude. Right? Not every state, again some of the states. But in south in general I see so much of politeness, so much of humility, right, which can be misinterpreted as submissiveness, right. So that balance also you need to work out actually. So this is combination of everything, right, combination of all these factors. Now the question is that do you possess all of them? Are you confident? Are you curious? Are you calm and composed every time, right? Are you a person who can listen attentively, who can respect any kind of question, any kind of opinion, any kind of view, right? Without getting agitated, without getting provoked, without getting tensed about it. Are you a person who has strong presence of mind? This is most important, presence of mind. In the real interview, when we are asking question, the presence of mind is one of the strongest traits, so that if somebody displays, so we give very good marks. Next is consistency. Consistency in terms of your own views, your own opinions. Consistency in terms of what you have presented in DAF, what you are revealing, how you are responding. So what you have mentioned here should match with what you are saying, right. So for instance, in the first answer you might have given a view, right, regarding like a social issue, you might have taken a stance and given a view. Usually what happens, people with strong presence of mind are aware of their first answer. So there is a continuity, they are aware of what they told in the first answer. So if the related question comes in the last question, so their answer will not contradict, it will complement. So they might refer to that answer also. So as I mentioned in the first answer of honorable members, something like this, then there is a consistency. So this is one part. Consistency in terms of their provocation. Sometimes they will make you to take a stance, something maybe against their own view or against universal opinion, whatever it is, and then they will try to see if you are consistent about it. Are you standing by your view or not, right? For example, it happened like this. Last year there was a question related to, so Lord Krishna telling Arjuna to kill Karna, right? Is it ethical or unethical? It was asked by chairman, the UPSC chairman. The question was it ethical or unethical, right? So the boy, the candidate had hobby of reading Mahabharata, so as his hobby. It was the first question. So then he took a stance, sir, it is unethical, right? So then the chairman was like he acted or behaved in a way of getting shocked, right? Are you saying Lord Krishna, whom entire, you know, nation worships as virtuous, as somebody, you know, incarnation of something, or who gave whatever it is. So you are saying that his action was unethical. So he stuck with his stance. Yes, sir, I believe it was unethical, right? Then he, I don't remember the follow-up question. It happened for like 3 minutes like this. So he stuck with his opinion that it was unethical. So I think they asked him reasoning. What can you give like 2-3 reasons why you are believing unethical? Maybe he would have given 2-3 reasons. Then next member asked questions. In the end, chairman again asked the question. Some people are asking nowadays. Some people are not asking. Right? Slowly, most of them are not asking in the end. The you know, the chairman of the panel. Okay, I will give you final chance. You are about to walk out. Do you still believe that Krishna's advice was unethical? Right? Just before he was about to, you know, end the interview. So this boy stuck, sir, it is still believe it was unethical. So can you guess his marks? What would have happened? Huh? Well, I think he got 186 or 187, right? So he was not confident that, you know, you have fear, you know, when you people, you know, spoil your people around you. Tomorrow interview chala gaya, like, you know, so you contradicted chairman, you know, you didn't go with him or something like this. So it is not the case, right? So what he displayed was self-belief, right? Conviction, that, you know, consistency in his belief. So that was more important because that is part of the personality, rather than getting swayed over, getting influenced by, you know, the reactions of the members or their counter questions or follow-up questions, and then later, you know, changing. So when you said balanced view, that is, so don't go with a balanced view of it as both positive and negative. It is both ethical and unethical, right? So there will be certain questions. Be fearless to take stance, right? And if you, from the core of your personality, believe that, so this is what I believe, stick to it. It might be against all the 5 members' opinion or belief, but in the end still they will respect you and reward you. So this is very important. So but unfortunately, you know, most of the UPSC aspirants, candidates are taught to write positives and negatives, right? You are in the mains answers, middle path, right? So in the interview it doesn't work. So never start your answer with, you know, it's a double-edged sword, right? I hate this phrase, you know, double-edged sword, right? So never start your answers. Start with the opinion, strong opinion, right? For example, demonetization, do you think it was a fruitful exercise or what? Like, or it was a futile exercise? You take a stance. If you believe that demonetization was indeed a good initiative, you say it. No, don't say it as both negatives and positives. Or if you believe that it was not a good initiative, right? You can take that also. Now there is no rule that you have to talk everything pro-government, right? So here, can you give a rational, you know, justification for your stance, right? But having said that, there will be certain issues where you may have to go with the pro-government. So in the mock interview we will discuss that, right? So not in the public. So the point here is that, so you should develop that conviction, right? So I mean, because we are discussing about qualities, I came to that point. So otherwise, my question was, do you possess all of these qualities? If not, what are you going to do about them? Communication skill, I think it is desirable that, you know, you really speak fluently, you really speak clearly. So that is there, you know, in your interview paragraph in the notification, right? Clear articulation, clear exposition, so that word is there. But I don't think they are expecting you to speak a jargon-filled standard English anywhere. So that is not the requirement here. If your English is not standard in the sense that what people like Shashi Tharoor and other people speak. So don't be afraid of it. A normal English, even if it is grammatically not so correct, is also fine. What is more important is the substance in the answer. So what you are trying to communicate is more important than the language itself, right? So if you are able to do it without fear, without any hint of inferiority complex that you don't have good language skills, communication skills, so that is more important. If you are able to do it confidently, right? So stop worrying about language skills, right? But that can be improved. If you start speaking from today onwards only in English, so if your medium is English, right? So take a O that VW, VOW, wow, that from today onwards I am going to speak in English only with everyone, with chai wala, pakada wala, right? Auto wala, with your friends, with your, I don't know, with your parents, but with everyone you are going to speak in. If that is the problem, I mean, if language is an issue, that is one solution. Second one is that you can record your answers in English, right? So start framing questions about every part of the DAF. So this is the next exercise you need to do. So once you have identified the keywords in the DAF, see in the DAF every single word is important, right? Now if I don't see something here, so I'll just see like okay, so mother tongue is Urdu, right? And then I will see any interesting word is there in email also. Some people will have interesting email, right? Any interesting email ID you have here? No. Right. So some people will have, I have observed that also. So in their email ID, they will have some interesting words, college memories or some, job memories they will have, and at gmail.com will be there, right? And then the places, some people will unfortunately will have 5-6 places, right? You would have done till 10th in one place, 10th to 12th in another place, and then job, graduation in another city, job in another state, right? And then written examination in another city, preparation in another city. Every city is important, right? So I will ask, like, let's say there is Bangalore, you are born and brought up in Bangalore, for some reasons you went to Bhubaneswar as part of the work or as part of something, you went to Bhubaneswar. So you have to prepare well on Bhubaneswar also. So I start asking comparison questions. So you are living in Bhubaneswar for 1 or 2 years. Can you make a comparison with life in Bhubaneswar and life in Bangalore? And then I'll start asking about the nature of urbanization in Bhubaneswar, the nature of urbanization and the attitude of people here, the culture there. And then I'll ask opinion. What do you think? What are the factors that might have influenced this kind of culture in Bhubaneswar compared to Bangalore? So these are all hypothetical questions. These are instant questions intended to test again your actual experience in the city. If you have lived in that city, my expectation is that you should be interested in the city, interested in the people of the city, interested in the development of the city, interested in how the city itself is evolving, right? So it is not like, so there are people, for example, if somebody has studied in, let's say I was having discussion, somebody from a northern state studied in IIT Madras. So I was asking about Madras, like, can you talk about it? So the answer didn't have depth. So after that, he said, I hardly ventured out of the campus. And within the campus, very few people from Tamil Nadu were there, right? So I didn't have much opportunity to interact with them, right? So there is nothing wrong with the person, but my expectation is different, right? So you have to first expect the expectations, first understand the expectations, right? Now how will you understand these expectations? On what basis, on what scale, on what criteria you will understand the expectations and every keyword? Because understanding is important to start framing the questions, right? So the 5 members, right, each member in the interview panel will come with minimum 30 years of experience in either academics or public life, right. So which means 150 years of experience in front of you collectively, 150 years of experience, whatever it is, 30 years this member, 30 years that member, they are having that. So during these 30 years, every individual in the panel, have accomplished so many things, so they themselves are exposed to so many areas of life, right, and their thinking has evolved over the years by virtue of their job, their experiences, their travels, their accomplishments, everything, right. And the second factor is the nature of the job itself for which you are being interviewed. The civil services itself is not an ordinary profession, it is service, civil service. So there is an imagination behind this particular service, so that we want this kind of candidate for this service, because this service has its own uniqueness, nature compared with all other jobs. Now when they are interviewing, majorly in their mind they will have IAS in their mind, right. If you have specifically mentioned foreign service or police service, then they have these two in their mind when they are interviewing you. Basically they are interviewing you is for these 3 top positions. Though there are so many central services, their constant imagination, right, expectation is that the candidate sitting in front of me, is he or she suitable for the job. Now while asking the question, though your DAF is a starting point, because of their own experience in their own field, that will also have influence, right, in what kind of question they are going to ask. So now you should be aware of this fact very clearly, right. So it doesn't mean that you should do research on these people, right, you should not do research on UPSC member or anything. So based on the common sense, what is their expectation? Somebody coming with so much of experience, vast experience, they don't expect obvious thing from your answers, right. They certainly definitely explain depth and the constructiveness in your answer, and then the diversity in your answer, thoughtfulness, I keep using the word thoughtfulness, right. So in your answer, it should not be bookish answer, it should not be a manufactured answer, it should not be a prepared answer, right. It should not be obvious answer. If you are not training yourself, what happens when the question is asked, the very first response is always an obvious response, right. It naturally becomes a very generic point when you either when you haven't prepared or when you are not able to think in that moment, it becomes. So that we see when people are writing essays and answers, right. So if you are in the first few mock tests when you are writing, first few points are generic. Once you get into the flow of the answer, then you start bringing the good quality points. In the essay it also happens, first half may not be good, in the second half people start bringing some uniqueness. So here in the interview you cannot afford to do that, because in 20 to 30 minutes there are going to be 25-30 questions, on an average 20 questions minimum. So there are 20 to 30 questions are asked, in some cases more than that. So every question will have hardly 30 to 40 seconds time. So my average, because of so many mock interviews, what I have found out is that the optimum time is 40 to 50 seconds. So that is the attention span that I have when you are answering it, right. So if it is a case study question, it can exceed 1 minute, because you will have to give more details. Let us say they make you SP of a district where communal clash is happening or some unfortunate event has taken place, how you are handling the situation. So it will require maybe bit of extra details than 40-50 seconds. So you have to develop the ability to articulate your views, opinion, any knowledge that you have within 50 seconds. So that also I have calculated, like it takes, to put one view it will take hardly 10 to 12 seconds, right. So like that, within 50 seconds, without beating around the bush, without giving unnecessary background, context, introduction, you have to directly hit the bullseye and try to give minimum 3 different dimensions, right. If the question is open-ended, make it a habit to give minimum 3 dimensions, maximum 4. Beyond that, again our attention span will not be there. 3 is optimum. Worst case, 2 different unique dimensions to the questions. To think about, once you have understood, because of their vast experience, they are expecting depth. So the preparation should have similar approach. Now please don't read until your interview is over. Never visit Insights IAS website or any other UPSC website, right. I am asking you not to visit any of these UPSC related websites, for God's sake, till your interview is over. So the current affair materials, the things that you want to read, don't read from these website. Now the sources should be original sources, right. Original editorials, multiple newspapers, right. Now don't judge that the Hindu is biased, I will not read the Hindu, Indian Express is biased, I won't read it. Read every paper. Now after the mains result, definitely it might have dawned upon you the fact that the feeling might have sunk that you are now selected for interview, right. You people are, it is a reality now that you are actually going to UPSC Delhi, right, through train or plane. You are going to give UPSC interview. This is the reality now. Nobody is going to snatch that from you now, right. From this moment onwards, how you are going to prepare for this phase of very interesting, very exciting phase of personality test will determine your final outcome. Even if your marks is only 1 or 2 above the cutoff, you can still get a rank this year, right. So be aware of this fact. Now you should understand the demand. Otherwise what happens, you get deviated. Throughout the day you will spend time only reading your notes, reading your optional, reading about making material, making notes about everything. The same mistake many people do during prelims and interview, main stage. Now is not the time to make notes, stick with a book and lock in your room and read. Now is not the time to do that. You have to explore the world. You have to explore everything outside the UPSC syllabus now, right. So for that, multiple newspapers is important. So don't judge if your optional is PSIR, you should read more about only IR, right. Read everything. So my suggestion, 4 newspapers, right. It's okay to spend 5-6 hours reading them. It should be done purely out of curiosity, out of passion and interest, rather than again from the perspective of UPSC, right. So read one Live Mint, Economic Times, compulsorily these 2 papers, Hindu and Indian Express, right. Spend money, buy hard copy. It's okay, read, and it will do magic. You do it for one week continuously, right. You will gain enough confidence to talk about everything, right. If you do it in a restricted way, selective way, you won't get the confidence. Second is buy weekly magazines. Again, not any UPSC magazines, general magazines like The Week, Outlook, right, Malayalam Manorama, like if you come from that part, and India Today, right, EPW, selectively, Economic and Political Weekly, not Frontline. Frontline you can leave it out. So these magazines, again purely out of, read everything. There is entertainment section, read that also. Sports, read that. There is a satire, somebody would have written, read that part also, right. Engage in intellectual activities, right? At the end of the day, when you know something about everything, that is when you can engage anyone in a conversation. If you are doing it selectively, right, you will always go with a fear, what if question comes from that area, right? So now that is with respect to general issues, assuming that they will start conversation about that, that is one part. Secondly, when it comes to your branch of engineering, let's say any graduation, so there two things must be done. The most basic thing about that particular subject, so let's say it is psychology or civil engineering or mechanical engineering. So what are the basic concepts that you might have studied in the first or second years? Just the basic part. So no need to read all your graduation notes or anything, just the basic words. For example, for mechanical student, they keep asking about laws of thermodynamics, right? So they keep asking about what is entropy, what is torque, what is, so civil service, civil engineering student, they also have the keywords. I don't think they will exceed 50-60 keywords like that, key concepts. Whatever be the number, you prepare them. That is one. Second most important is, this is what most of the people miss. Anything advanced development that is happening with respect to your branch of academics, whatever you are studying, anything that is advanced taking place. In every field something is happening. Some research is happening, someone is inventing something, someone is creating something, right? Something innovative thing is happening in every field of discipline, right? So about that compulsorily read, right? So I keep asking what is latest in civil engineering, right? So the answers are now prefabrication is one thing people tell, right? If I ask mechanical engineering, they will tell additive manufacturing, they tell, right? So if I ask a student of say electronics, communications or something, 5G, right? Everybody uses 5G, 5G, 5G. I am sure there is something better than 5G is happening, right? It may be in the idea stage, it may be in an pilot stage, infancy stage, whatever it is. Somebody might have already thought something new about that thing, right? So the best indicator is you should see in your field what kind of papers are published in different journals, what kind of awards, what kind of, for example, Nobel prizes are indicative that something as revolutionary has taken place, right? Or there may be a website which shortlists what kind of applications were shortlisted, what kind of works were shortlisted for Nobel that year. So Nobel Peace Prize, we know that few people were shortlisted for their work in different fields of building peace or bringing peace, whatever, it can be institution or individual. So like that there are different disciplines. So you must be aware of, right, any breakthroughs, any latest, this is compulsory. If you are aware of this, then you can bring element of curiosity in your answer, right? You say something about it, I will not be aware of it, right? I may be aware of it. If I am aware of it, I am very happy because you are aware of it. Expectations are matching. If I am not aware of it, you are bringing, then also I am very happy because now I am more curious. I want to know from you what it is, because I want to learn about it, right? So either way it is going to be beneficial. So you have to know it, right? So similarly, when it comes to places, right, every place will have unique problems, right? So if you are coming from Chitradurga, if you are coming from, let's say, Jharkhand, like Ranchi, if you are coming from Patna, if you are coming from Indore, even if it is cleanest city, still there will be certain problems. Have you ever thought of solving those problems? Have you ever thought of finding solutions to those problems? Again, not usual solutions, but unique solutions, right? So Bangalore has so many problems, right? So you know the problems. What are the problems? Huh? So all the civic problem, it has traffic problem, it has pothole problem, it has what? Hmm? Waste management problem, urban flood problem, then hmm? What? Eutrophication, encroachment of lakes, pollution, okay, then hmm? E-waste, yeah, good, E-waste problem, then any social problems? Huh? Migrant crisis, maybe, okay, then okay, yeah, that's a good goal. Like, what is the impact of work from home on cities like Bangalore, something like that? Then, okay, fine. So globalization and Bangalore, we had recently investment meet in Bangalore. So how was their response? What were their concerns about Bangalore? How did government respond to their concerns? Right? Are there any political issues or communal issues that Bangalore is facing, or in general Karnataka is facing? So you make a list of each and every problem. First read about the problem and then read if somebody has given a solution about it, and see if you can improvise these solutions based on your own understanding. So in the interview, I want out of the box, thoughtful, innovative answer from you. So if I am asking a waste management, so how do we solve the problem of waste management in big cities like Bangalore? Your answer should not be obvious, like we will segregate the waste at source, and then from there, you will give the obvious answer of landfill or recycling, this and that. I am 100% sure some thinking has evolved over the years, like beyond these things, right? So is there a technology to segregate the waste, right? Technology that is feasible, so which can be scaled up, at a large scale, can it be done, right? And it also has a behavioral problem, right? So is there a solution to this behavioral problem, to change the attitude of the people towards the waste problem, whatever be the problem, the civic communities, civic problems mainly have behavioral issues at the root of them, right? So if you correct the behavior, most of the civic problems can be solved. It can be traffic issue, or it can be waste management issue, it can be pollution issue, right? So as a administrator of tomorrow, how are you going to solve it? So now traffic in Bangalore has improved around 30% since last 2-3 weeks, right? People are attributing it is because of two things happened, like a separate post was created for traffic commissioner in police. It was non-existent. So somebody in the government thought that we need to take it seriously and we need to create separate post for it. That was one good. And creation of post is one innovative idea, but putting right people there, right, was the second step. So they put a right officer, and through his out of the box, not so innovative, like simple interventions. So I see it on Twitter, so many tweets, even I am experiencing it. So when I am coming from, it is taking 5 minutes lesser than it used to take earlier, despite so many BBMP works going on, in this west of Cord Road stretch. So now, are you curious to know what were the interventions, list of interventions that this person did? Now tomorrow you are also going to be as part of this, right? So it is a 50-50 thing now, right? Everyone sitting here, could everyone be officers, provided this interview phase is really done very well. Worst case, 35% of you are going to be officers. It is the fact, right? So it can be you, anyone. 35% of this crowd is definitely going to be officers. So tomorrow when you end up in that responsible position, right, are you going to be like a previous officers who came, sat there, just complained, blamed people, went back? Or are you going to be the latter one, the latest officer who is finding a solution, who has found a solution or still in the process of finding a. Today also there was a tweet about it, something about from himself, right? So now the panel is looking for problem solvers. Somebody, I mean, this is the change that we are witnessing in the entire UPSC examination process. In prelims, in mains, especially in interview, they want people who are dedicated to the nation. This is one. That nation comes first. Do you have that thing in you? Where you are putting service and nation above everything. Second one, do you have qualities to take quick decisions? Something unbiased, something, a decision which is intended to solve a problem, right? So not to complain about it, not to give justification, not to give an excuse, but can you take a decision to solve a problem, right? That a quick decision making. So the third one is, can you think something out of the box here, right? Because the usual solutions are not working for most of our problems. Now we have a prime minister who wants our civil servants to take risk, right? In fact, he encourages it. In his tweets, in his interactions, he has encouraged, civil servants and in general public servants to take risks and get things done. And we know that his decisions are like that, kind of, we call them impulsive, but they are kind of radical, with the, assumption or hope that, there are civil servants who will implement them. So they are radical in a way. So they want, in the present establishment, they want that kind of officers who can take risk, who can get things done, right? So you have to display these qualities in your answers. So being defensive, being submissive, giving justification, right? And coming across as like sorry, like, right? So these are punished severely in the interview. So in the course of the interview, never give any justification. For example, people have this habit of giving justification in their answers. For example, you graduated in 2016, right? What are you doing since then, right? Somebody might be continuously in a job, so they won't have any so they will say, I have been working in this organization for continuously these many years. It is rare that they will ask that question to that person who is actually working. So somebody who hasn't displayed any work experience, they will ask. So now this person, right, has this fear, right? Before going to interview, he already developed a fear that the panel will judge me because I don't have work experience. Now UPSC nowhere in notification is telling you that we are going to select people with work experience. It is nowhere written. Nobody has told you, right? But that is your assumption, fear. So now as part of the answer, you will start telling that I started preparing for UPSC after my graduation. But sir, in between I also taught some students there. I worked in an NGO there, right? I interned in some institution there, something like this. So this is in a way kind of justification for me because you are trying to fill the gaps here, right? Now if the tone of the answer is positive, I mean if it is consistent with what you have mentioned in DAF, that in the DAF if you have shown that you have interned somewhere, right? If you did work in NGO, then it complements. If you are not mentioning them as part of excuse, because you have this fear, you feel like, if I say just preparing for UPSC for 4 years, the board will judge me adversely, negatively. If you have this fear, then you will tend to try to fill the gap, saying something unnecessarily defensive and giving some kind of justification. So this should be avoided. And unknowingly we sound negative also sometimes. Okay, why do you want to become civil servant? You have been working in Microsoft for 4 years, right? Again your salary is like 2 lakh per month, right? So why do you want to become a civil servant? So they have given some context now, right? So then somebody will answer that sir, my job at Microsoft was basically to code for the software, and I have been doing the same thing, like 4 years continuously. It has got monotonous, and I am also working for another MNC, something like this. So you are putting one organization in a negative light, right? You are indicating that you didn't enjoy your job, right? You are not passionate about what you did all these years, right? So you are saying that because you hate something, that is why you are trying to get into something here, right? Rejected. So the answer should be yes sir, my job at Microsoft was rewarding. I was thoroughly enjoying the job. I was into interesting aspects of the job, like coding for this software, that software, which literally billions of people are using worldwide. It was really rewarding, but during the course of the job, somewhere I went some kind of transformation or whatever it is in my thinking, that I wanted higher purpose in life, whatever it is. The second part is something related to your own actual reason, but at no point don't put another experience, another organization, institution, another person or whatever it is in the negative light. So this is what is the constructive thinking, positive thinking. So another aspect of constructive thinking as part of the interview is that your answer should end with a solution, in the sense that for example like demonetization, you don't agree with it, right? So you are saying that it is a colossal failure or something, you don't use the word colossal, it's a failure in terms of not meeting its objectives. The facts are there, right? So now more currency is in circulation than it was before demonetization, 2 times of what it used to be before demonetization. It hasn't stopped counterfeit currencies, that problem also. It hasn't ended terrorism, right? So that was also one of the reasons given then, but it has largely met the objective of making economy cashless, in the sense that increasing online transaction, that is there. So your answer, though you want to go with the negative tone, you can say that this is what has happened, but in the end your answer on a positive note, right? So it can be something like that. It may be too soon to judge such a like systemic or radical initiative, but so far this is what I think, sir. But we may have to wait. In the coming decade or coming years, we might see positive implications also, something like this. Or if the government had taken a corrective action in this regard, right? So that also you have to put. So it is not just taking one side doesn't mean that ignoring any positive steps taken by that particular entity or anything, right? So you have to end your answer on that note. If you have to criticize someone or something, right? So I don't know, somebody said in the last interview session, there is, in psychology there is a term for this, but because I started interacting with students, no, I gave it a name like sandwich approach. I mean my own, I don't know. First say the positive thing, right? In between any criticism you want to, you can say it, but again ending it on a positive note. For a listener, entire answer looks positive, but again you are true to your conscience, that you are still critical about it, you are still telling the negative aspect of it, but you are not totally highlighting it. So this approach actually works in the interview, because most of the listeners in any social interaction would like to hear positive things, right? So even if you are giving a negative thing, they would like to still hear the other side of the story. So when you do that, the impression is positive, right? So this what we are discussing is what happens in the interview hall. So there are a few things. Some members ask you question in the end, right? Like, okay, you did so well till now. Do you have anything to share with the panel? what will you do? So let's say you are interviewed for 20-25 minutes, and in the end the last question is that okay, your interview is over, but do you have anything to share with the panel? What will you share? You have already shared so much, 25 minutes. Now in the end, before you are walking out, what would you like to share with them? I mean, ideas, thoughts. Hmm? What exactly you would like to tell? Like, okay. So why would you like to share it? Okay. But why would you like to share with them? Hmm. 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 So that you might have already displayed in 20-25 years. So 25 minutes of your interview. Now again, why do you like to? Like, why do you want to share that you have problem with the examination? So do you think that is the right forum to share that? Hmm. So like why do you want to share it there? Correct, your point is definitely logical and good one, but I'll come to that point. Anybody would like to share anything? Hmm. Again, why do you like to share your experience? Okay. So she would like to share experience in Delhi, any unique experience then? Something that you missed in the DAP that you would like to bring it to their notice. Okay. Then? Okay, in the process of interview, if there were new thoughts provoked, you would like to talk about them. Okay. Like what will you share with them? Okay, good. Then? Okay, now we have shared your experience or opinion or your solution, right? Your perception, whatever it is. Now you have shared with them. Now what next? So what is your expectation? Are you sharing everything without expectation, or because when you want to share there is some expectation that they will accept your suggestion and act upon that, or say something in affirmative, right? Expectation that so we should have talked about that hobby or something like this because they missed some hobby, right? So what is your expectation? So that means like in a way you are judging your own performance. I mean, you might have thought that you have missed one or two things that I should have displayed them, right? Okay. So in my opinion, in my humble opinion, right, it is better to just say thank you and walk out, right? So the reason is that the logic, the reason is that, so I think this question is intended to not to really hear about what you have to say, right, but to see if you are going to commit any mistake or if you are going to surprise them also. It can be either way, right? It is very difficult to surprise them, impress them in that moment because it is completely open. You can talk about anything literally. Can you share anything, right? So as you gave example, you can share about your experience in Delhi. You can share about your hobby, something that you didn't mention, your job experience or your interview experience, about your UPSC journey or whatever it is, right? Now, so how are they going to judge it? What you are trying to say, because 20-25 minutes they have already done that. They have already done that. They have thoroughly done that, right? So in the last minute, so based on the common sense, what I believe is that it is better to just show gratitude that just in a simple way. What he said is near to the expectation. Just say that thank you so much for this opportunity, ma'am, sir. I enjoyed conversation with you, but I don't know, sorry, what else to share. I felt good, being part of the interview process. Thank you, sir. And just politely, quietly put your chair and then walk out. So this is the best bet than saying anything else, right? Because we don't know. Like it happened, last year interview. So that girl got anyway IAS because of good marks in mains. I was taking multiple marks. I was telling this. There are one or two members who will ask you this question, but don't say anything. Just say thank you and walk out. And the members who are asking this question, they will make you so comfortable in the interview that you feel like encouraged, emboldened to talk about anything and everything. You feel like they are open, very cordial, friendly, right? So now I can say anything. They actually make you feel like, I mean, it is not like usual interview. It is like a real conversation with having open-mindedness around you. It looks like that. But that girl unnecessarily talked about something related to hobby. That there was no question on that in the interview, right? She wanted to bring that to their attention. So there was some day, international day related to that particular hobby. So today is I just want to share, sir, today is the international day of this XYZ, something related to what I am passionate about it, and it really feels great that something international community is celebrating this and that, something like this. Now why you wanted to talk about that? What was the intention? Right. So one of the, I mean, just wanted to bring to their notice, like either you missed hobby on which I really prepared well, right? Or something that I have, I just want to share what I am passionate about it, right? In my marks, the way she was giving was 190 plus. I was telling that, but actual score was around 165 or something, right? I read the transcript so many times. Till that moment, it was wonderful. It was fine. In the last moment, that was unwanted. I had warned. I tell people actually, so don't do these mistakes, right? I mean, common sense. You don't. It is interview is over. Tell them thank you. So like you're clueless what to share actually, right? So don't be under compulsion. So don't force yourself to say anything, right? Unwanted. It is unwanted only, right? Who are they to listen to your? They are strangers. Even then they are strangers, right? They are not your friends or your family members or colleagues or anyone who are really, they are genuinely interested in so not like that. So it is better to say thank you, express your gratitude and walk out. So it has happened to many people. So there is another thing. Do you have question for us? One is sharing your experience. Another one is, do you have question for us, right? Now what question you will ask to them? So two things have happened. One, people usually say, I don't have any question for you, right? Some extra smart people will definitely ask some questions, but two things will happen. One is they won't force you. You might say, sorry ma'am, I don't have any question, I just enjoyed the conversation, that's it. No, you have to ask question. We don't want this, you have to ask question to us. Compulsory it is. So then you cannot say, no, I don't want to ask. Right? You have to ask question. If they are telling you to go for it. So the similar thing will happen in the course of the interview also. No, we don't want positive, negative answer. We want yes or no, only one of them. Right? If the panel is saying that, immediately take a stance. Right? Yes or no. It is better to take in the beginning itself rather than changing your opinion later. Right? But that is the expectation, yes or no, rather than saying that it has both the sides. Now in that case, I don't know what kind of question you will ask. It should be something neutral, safe kind of question. I don't know. See, if you come with sense of humor, right, strong presence of mind, you can exhibit that. I think that is the opportunity, right? So for example, I just got this thought right now, I don't know. Let's say it's a lady member and wearing a really beautiful saree, right? I mean, in the end, I don't know. If you might ask, ma'am, your saree is really beautiful, I just may know where can I buy that or something, maybe? He is saying no, he is disagreeing with that, right? No, I don't know, I'm not sure about this, right? Right. So again, you should not come across as you are like trying to appease them or anything. So you should be safe, something neutral. I don't know what question you will ask. So ensure that it should not lead to any kind of judgment. That's it, right? It should end on a lighter note. Like safe, happy kind of climax, rather than again leading to another question, another conclusion. It should not be like that. It should be a safe question. Maybe I don't know. I'm new to Delhi, where I don't know. You can start with these phrases. I'm really not sure if I can ask this question or not, because I'm really scared right now to ask you question, because you're forcing me to ask me question. So I'm asking this. Huh? No. अच्छा. So then कितने marks मिलेगा मुझे? So then they'll definitely tell you the marks. So I don't know if you can ask that question. Should not ask that question. That's what. So don't be too smart. Like in Twitter we see that some people are like too smart. They will tell recently I was reading, some people have the habit of asking, even I ask questions sometimes. Recently somebody asked the question, if you have so much money in the world, if you would like to buy one thing, right, what will that be? Right. So smart people will say like peace of mind I want to buy happiness. This is like overthinking, extra thinking. The question is simple, something related to materialistic. So he is not asking in terms of to test your philosophical way of thinking or anything. So you want to buy a private jet, you can say mention private jet. If you want to buy, right, whatever it is, Buckingham Palace, mention I want to buy Buckingham Palace. So it can be anything, right? So but not something like overthinking, like over smart kind of answers. Okay. So any doubts? Yeah, regarding service preference. So your first service preference, or you are confused? Are you confused? Nowadays some people are confused between Indian Foreign Service and IAS, right? I don't know. I am not the authority to talk about these services, but IFS, if you are genuinely passionate about diplomacy, international relations, right, and if you think you possess those kind of skills, right, good communication, right, excellent social skills, leadership skills in terms of getting things done, meeting people, building network. So strong extracurriculars. I mean, you can go with that. It is a very good job. And if the confusion is between IAS and IPS, right? Again, depending on the passion. If you are passionate about the uniform, you are not worried about power or authority, but you are purely worried about services like IPS, what they offer you, ability to establish law and order, solve crimes, right? Provide instant solutions to any injustice that not instant, but right. So that takes us to extrajudicial killings, right? Not that. So IAS, in terms of if you really like diversity, right? From your bottom of your heart, you like service, something everlasting. So go with IAS. If I have to make comparison, IAS is better, as some of the IPS officers themselves have told. There are some DGP, ADGP of level IPS officers who come. So they tell, I want my daughter or my son to be either IFS or IAS, not IPS, right? So the reason is there is so much politicization. You cannot really do your work with honesty. There is frequent transfer. So many issues are there, but IAS is better. So IAS, IFS, IPS, depending on your preference, these three are clear. I mean, most of you will know that. So after that, what? Which services you would like to put? IRS IT, then IRS Customs. After that, so I'll tell you what is general thinking. Most of the people what they write. So if it is IAS first, then they will write IAS. If they don't like Indian Foreign Service, there are some people they don't want to get into Indian Foreign Service. So it is better to put at 5th place, not even 3rd or 4th place, after 5th place. Again, not in the end also. So don't put it in the complete end, you can put it in the 5th or 6th position. So IAS, IPS, let us say IFS 3rd position, and then IRS IT, what people put, IRS Customs, Excise, then Indian Audit and Account Service, right? This is what is the preference, 6th preference. Then after that, if again it depends on your liking. So there are so many account services, right? ICAS, Civil Account Service can be put, then Defense Account Service. Account service, why people put slightly above other central services is that this authority wala notion, right? With your sign the bills are passed. In any, for example, before IRMS, when we had Railway Account Service, so people would prefer IRAS slightly more than IRPS and IRTS, because at the end of the day IRPS, IRTS would come to IRAS, right? I mean, this is something to do with individual. But if somebody wanted a field job, right? So or something to do with interaction with public and all, they would put IRPS or IRTS above IRAS, right? So after Audit and Account, Civil Account Service, right? And then Defense Account Service, and there is one Defense Estate Service also, right? So it is said to be kind of a cool, calm job where you can have balance between your job and your personal life. So you will be put in very beautiful locations, right? So defense estates are usually located in the posh locations of any city, right? So where you have to manage it. So that is one thing. And then corporate law service. So these are kind of desk jobs. Corporate law service, any account service are mostly, even IRS IT is also desk service now. So you won't get frequent opportunities to ride anymore nowadays, okay, unless there is some political war is going on, right? So now the faceless assessment has come. The complaint by IRS IT people is that it is more or less a office desk job. So there is no diversity in it or something. So based on this thinking, some people are putting IRS customs above IRS IT also nowadays, because you can be posted in customs, excise, right? In IRS, customs, GST, like there is some kind of diversity, intelligence wings and other things. And then the Indian Trade Service. So some foreign assignments are there in the Indian Trade Service. Some people put it after account services, trade service. Again, if you are passionate about public service, irrespective of whether it is Group A or Group B, how it is going to help in your career, you can put these DANIPS and DANICs slightly above other services. So it is, if you are coming here only with the sense of government job, security, government security, so then don't put them above, because the promotions are not fast in these jobs, they are very slow, right? For example, DANIPS, same exam you are passing, there is someone who is IPS, 10 years or in 15 years, he will go somewhere and he will be almost same, like it is very difficult to become even get promoted to IPS when you are in DANIPS, right? It takes I think 10 to 12 years, that's what somebody said, or it can be, depends on different states I think, or this thing, union territories. So for some reasons AFHQ is always given the last preference, Armed Forces Headquarters Service last, before that Indian Postal Service, because again some people think that there is no much diversity here, and Indian Information Service before that. So if somebody has liking for entertainment industry, writing skills, you can put Indian Information Service slightly above other services. So here there is some diversity in Indian Information Service, right? For example, I am seeing one of my student, he got a posting in Film Certification Board, right? So where every day he is meeting every celebrity, right? So that kind of interaction. So you can be in the All India Radio or national television, Sansad TV, right? Or you can be, if you are very talented, you can be hired to write speeches for prime ministers, presidents, where you will constantly go with them. So it depends on your talent. If you have skill for writing, right, in the unfortunate event of not getting top 3 services, I think Indian Information Service you can consider, right? So these are the things. Okay. So regarding cadres, so pretty much you are very clear, right? Irrespective of how you put it, is unpredictable which cadre you get nowadays. Because of the zonal policy, nobody is able to predict which cadre they are able to get. So only if you are in the top ranks, based on how many vacancies are available, then only you can predict, based on for which category how many posts are available, right? Again, you cannot get it for every state. It's difficult to get for every state. So cadre related any doubts are there regarding home state? So now there is, I have spoken to people who are posted in UP. So my students are there in UP, Rajasthan, almost every state they are there. But people who are posted in UP are more happy than any other state for some reasons, right? One is it's a big state. Another is you can enjoy your position thoroughly well there, because everyone respects you, and people have reverence for the office of position of IAS, and especially the collectorate office, right? Everybody has respect for that. So that is one factor. Another factor is that your hard work is recognized, right? So if you are doing really good work, it is recognized and good what promotions or what good transfers are done based on your work, that is there. So to put it more clearly, any BJP ruled states is good, right? So where your work is recognized, if that's what we were discussing earlier, no? If you are somebody who is who can get work done, if you are a good, upright, honest officer, you are always respected and you are promoted and you are given good assignments. So that is there. So you can put accordingly your preferences, right? So not about larger state or smaller state. This is wherever the regional politics is very strong, right? So the preferences are always for the local officers. I may be wrong in that, but that is what I heard. Okay. So wherever regional politics is strong, they like to prefer officers belonging to their own caste, their own region than somebody from outside. So those kind of states you can put them in the end, you know which states, right? Like in the zone where UP is there, UP first, right? In the zone where Rajasthan comes, Rajasthan first, right? Or Gujarat or Rajasthan. Like zone 1, Agmut should be first, right? Yeah. Zone 1, Agmut is what people put first, and then either Rajasthan, Agmut, you know, the people who are from Delhi or people who want to be posted throughout India, they put it Agmut, right? Agmut or Rajasthan. So first Agmut, second Rajasthan, third Haryana, fourth Punjab, sixth Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, either way. So in the zone 2, UP first, right? Second Odisha, third Bihar and fourth Jharkhand. This is what many people put. Zone 3, Maharashtra first, right? Second Gujarat, third Madhya Pradesh, fourth Chhattisgarh. Zone 4, so this is the tricky zone, zone 4, where you have Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura and West Bengal, right? So it depends on you. So there is some bias against West Bengal, I don't know why. So they say that the state is too politicized, and again this is based on what I've heard. So you are not respected, you know, from politicians and the people. That is why, that is what people say. I am not sure about it. So people either put it in the end, or people, because it's a good big state in this zone, they put it in the first. So it can be either Assam, Meghalaya or West Bengal, the first preference here, right? So rest of the states you know better, like you just, and some people put Sikkim as first year, okay, because they have this logic that Sikkim will have either 1 officer, 0 officers, right? So it will be skipped, you won't get it actually, right? So in that zone you are not going to get any state. So then next zone, the first state which you are putting you will get it. Some people use that logic and might end up in Sikkim also. I don't know, I mean, so there is, this also has happened. So in the zone 5, of course, if you are from Karnataka, Karnataka, if you are from Kerala, Karnataka, if you are from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, right? I mean, so I'm just kidding. So if you have Tamil Nadu, you put Tamil Nadu, okay. So I would prefer like Karnataka first, second Andhra Pradesh, third Telangana, fourth Tamil Nadu, fifth Kerala, right? Not me, like the people who usually write. So Kerala, same reason. People ask too many questions. People are so well aware of everything, no, from grassroots to top level. They don't care whether you are IAS, IPS, you are my servant. You are like, right, public servant. So you answer me. So you don't show all your attitude here. That doesn't work here. Kerala it is. Highest ranking in human development index, right? So some people don't like it, but there is an opportunity. It is better to work in those states where people expect you to work, people cooperate with you to get the work done, rather than people where worship you, right? So this is something related to cadres. That you can put it. Then you justify like why you are preferring Karnataka instead of your home state. Right. So, any questions? So, taking interview in mother tongue, in my opinion, is better to speak in English only. Right. See, if it is Hindi, I think most of them will understand. If you put Hindi as your medium, go with Hindi. No, not an issue. But other, if you put like Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and if you can speak in English, right, so then you speak in English. But if you don't know how to speak in English, the only language you know how to speak in is in Kannada, then you have to speak in Kannada, right. But knowing English and then speaking in Kannada, I think is wrong, because you are wasting their time, right. As I said, you don't have to have very clean grammar or anything. Normal English will be fine. So when I gave interview in 2010, my English was very poor. Written English was very good, excellent. In fact, I scored second or third highest in essay. But spoken English, in village, where will you speak with anyone in English? So I spoke in mostly broken English. Some Kannada words also I brought, even though I mentioned only in English medium, right? Still they gave 210 marks. Right? So it is not about the language, it is about communication and your personality, right? What you want to convey. So don't worry about that. So if you can speak in English, start speaking in English. I don't think they will insist that if you have mentioned Kannada, you only mention Kannada, or you can tell them, sir, I am not very fluent in English. I will try to speak in English if you allow me in between, if that is okay. I think they will be considerate. But anyway, they will have a translator, because you mentioned your language, no? As Kannada medium, there will be a translator already present in the interview room. So instead of for another candidate who is giving in English, in 20 minutes they might ask 20-25 questions. But for you, in the same 20 minutes, right, if somebody has to translate your answer and then they have to listen it, so I think number of questions might get reduced, or they have to double their time, so some issues will be there, that's why. Any doubts in general? See, think at an intellectual level. Now you should not be less ambitious. In your thinking you have to be very ambitious. At the end of the day, how your thoughts, how your ideas match with the listener in the interview panel, that matters most. It is easy to predict, when some people come and talk to me, I can easily segregate, who is well read, who is not well read, who is well thinking, who is not well thinking, who has strong presence of mind, who doesn't have strong presence of mind, who comes up with some fears, inferiority complex, who doesn't have all these kind of things. So based on them, I can actually give you exact marks, how much marks you are going to get in the real interview. And this is happening for like last 4-5 years, whom I expect to score 200 plus, majority of them end up with 200 plus. If I say somebody 190 plus, majority of them definitely score 190 plus, right? So it is about, what is my expectation and how you are meeting those expectations. So fortunately, I used to read lots of books earlier. Now and then I read some books now also. I keep reading magazines and other things. So I expect you to be more intellectually engaging when you are talking about anything rather than just saying the obvious, right? So in a way that trains you for the real interview, because you have to change the thinking itself. So that you have to do on a daily basis, day-to-day basis. Again, you cannot do it isolatedly. So only when you are exposing yourself to those kind of books, those kind of articles, listen to podcasts. If there somebody is having a podcast on technology, emerging technologies or something unique. Again, regarding hobbies, we didn't talk about that. Yoga and meditation, please no. It is increasing every year. Now it is like 7, 8 out of 10 people with yoga or meditation. So within meditation there are varieties of meditation. Within yoga there are varieties. Now if you have started yoga meditation only 1 year ago or 2 years ago, don't mention it. If you have done that since school days, if you are a trained yoga practitioner, very good. So if you are a trained yoga practitioner, thank you, not very good. So if you are a trained yoga practitioner or meditation practitioner, then you can definitely mention, because there will be passion, you will talk about it with so much love, passion about it. But if you are doing that as part of remedy, as part of your stress management only since few months, I don't think you will be able to talk with passion about it. You are still recovering, still practicing, so that difference will be seen when we are asking questions. So that also happened. One girl said that she got training about yoga and Bhagavad Gita from a very well known personality. So that was not mentioned, only yoga and meditation was mentioned. So I then asked her to mention the personality also, because it's a very prominent. Getting trained from them is not ordinary event or exercise. So you have done that out of passion, you have learned it for so many years, you should definitely mention it. So like that, if you have something, you go for it, right? Similarly, like watching cricket, what exactly you watch? So do you regularly watch all the test matches? Do you watch one-day matches? Do you watch 2020 matches regularly? Or do you have the habit of watching old cricket matches, like 70s, 80s, 90s matches, right? Do you watch them, or do you watch only India matches, or do you also watch matches between Zimbabwe and Scotland, right? And do you watch women's cricket also? This question is asked for watching cricket people. This is new counter question. Do you watch women's cricket matches? Most of the people say no, right? If somebody says yes, okay, name all the 11 players, or at least 4 or 5 players who are currently playing for India, right? So if you are really passionately watching, then you will be able to name them, otherwise no, right? So all the details related to that you should be aware and passionate about. So similarly with other hobbies also, like watching movies, you may be fond of watching war movies, you may be fond of watching these international movies from Korea, Japan, China, right, Germany, Spain. There are like South American movies are also there, movies from Brazil, movies from Argentina. There are movies. So if you are watching those kind of movies, be specific about them and mention them, right? Listening to music also, like is there any particular genre? Do you listen to jazz music if it is Western music? If it is Indian music, do you listen to any specific? Drupad, very good. You listen to Carnatic music sometimes. Any trained Carnatic singer here? Any trained singer? Any? No. Trained dancer? Classical dance? Okay. Folk artist, very good. Mention that. You can mention it. Trained in anything other than In anything? Swimming, okay. Keyboard, okay, good. Trained in cricket? Huh? Strength training, okay. Any other trainings? So there was one person who had scored 150 marks because in DAF almost nothing was there. But that person had so much, right? In the course of interview I learned that. So next year I made him put 4 distinct things in the DAF based on his own interest. There was nothing fake about it. So he was interested in stock trading, that was one. So he was really good with respect to economic issues, right? He had a dormant blog, online blog. I made him write about economic issues. So blogging about economic issues. So he was instrumentation engineer, like engineering, but had interest in biomedical devices. He had done project on that in the college, like 2 projects on biomedical devices. So applied for patent or something like that. So then I said, going through developments in biomedical engineering field, that was another one. And his father was in railways, right? Since childhood he was born and brought up in the railway colony. Throughout the life he travelled in railways because, so there was an incentive to travel in railways. Throughout India travelled, he knew in and out about railways. So something related to railways, right? Writing about railways, or I don't remember, but railways, that was also there. So 4 members took 1-1 and he did thorough justice to everything. So previous year it was 151 and next interview it was 193, right? Just because of that jump in, he got IPS, that interview score. So the way the DAF was changed from previous to next DAF, and how it was based on his own interest in this thing, right? And how he prepared eventually. So there was this drastic jump, right? So you have to be aware of these things. Internships. So the positions you can put, position of distinction, leadership. Okay. Huh? Now if you are getting salary there, you can put in work experience. But I think now work experience you cannot fill, right? You cannot fill now. So during DAF 1 you had filled. But if you had missed any internship during that time, you can either mention in extracurriculars or in position of leadership. No. The only certificate that matters is 10th, graduation and caste certificate. But better to carry a file, they will just glance through, but they will not officially ask you to submit or anything. So they won't check anything. I have a favorite dialogue regarding this. You can mention I am gold medalist in Beijing Olympics, in swimming or whatever it is. They won't check your medal also and certificate also. But you should not be dishonest. So honesty is the best policy. So even in DAF also be honest, right? Interview, obviously never assume that you can outsmart them. Some people have this notion, I will implant keywords, I'll lead them. You cannot do that. As I said, 150 years of experience. If one is not finding out, another member is going to find out. So you have to be ruthlessly be yourself, very honest, right? Be yourself. So strong presence of mind, you just have to let honesty work, take care of itself. So you cannot manipulate, right? It is impossible. You should not do it. Yes, you can mention. Yeah, like say, like if you have written thesis or something, give the title of it, right? So in the awards, prizes, medals, scholarships, you can put any thesis or any project you did, put it with a title. If it is very technical, you have to prepare about it, revisit that thesis, read about it, right? So you have to mention it. See, in first standard you might have won at state level, right? You can mention that. It is not only college or university. So even you, during school days you might have participated in state level, national level, won something, that also you can mention here, right? So the question is, please give particulars at university, state, national level in respect of prize, medal, scholarships. It can be university level if during college if you had done something, right? State or national level, even if it was done at when you were in the school. And again within that there is another, positions of distinction leadership held in school or college, right? So when you were in school, you cannot hold any leadership role at state or national level, right? In your school, what is the national or state level? Nothing. So you can still mention if you are a class representative, if you are school captain, right? You can mention that under positions of leadership. Again here you should not mention positions of distinction leadership held in your Infosys or Wipro, right? So that is not asked here. So like work organization you cannot mention. School, college, like your coordinator of cultural events, college level. So those things are you can mention here. Youth parliament you should mention that under leadership, position of leadership. So law graduates talk about moot competitions, right? Better to this. His question is that, for example, if there is 5G, 6G, there is so much of technology behind it, technical details. So it is better to be aware of what exactly the technology is. Some concepts related to that you must be aware of, because again I forgot to mention this, in the course of interview, if there is a question related to a technical field, related to your own academics, so don't be afraid to talk technical details in the interview. Some people assume that if I talk about these technological technical words, the board may not understand. You are underestimating, right? As I said, worst case they will ask another question out of curiosity, but don't assume anything. If you are well aware of all the technical details, talk to them as if they already know about them. It is respecting them, right? You are respecting them, you are not disregarding them. So don't assume that they don't know, I have to explain it to them. In mock also it happens, like I look like a fool maybe. So if I ask a question, they give it as if they are teaching me. They give the answer as if they do the same mistake in the real interview. Because you have this belief that you are an expert in this particular thing, so you have the tendency to talk like an expert, as if you are explaining something. No, you are in front of them, still a student, you should behave like a student, and if you know the technical details, just give them, assuming that they already know about it, right? And in the interview, you have to respect each and every question. Sometimes one member will, there is a acting in most of the boards. The question will be very incoherent, they will ask question in a way that it is 2 minutes monologue, right? What they are saying and what they are asking in the end will be totally different, right? And you are judging their question, not only question, the person also, that this person is not able to ask even simple question. Why is he sitting in this panel? What kind of question he is asking, I am not able to understand. So inside this thought is going on, but some more face is revealing it, right? The other 4 members are observing you. Okay, so the 5 people who are there, they are carefully chosen. They are not at all stupid or anything. They are intelligent people. They have good communication skills, right? So when they are asking question, respect, nod, appreciate what they are asking, try to understand the context, try to make sense of it, and then try to answer it. So no debate in the interview, no counter question. don't ask for repeated clarifications. Only if genuinely you haven't heard the question, then you can, with all the politeness, you can ask for the clarification, repetition of the question. So the strong presence of mind also includes this. Some people, repeat the question. So if I ask suddenly something out of nowhere, can you talk about the relationship between, I'll just mix up something. So let us say, so use gastronomy or something, like something related to cooking or something, gastronomy. So what is the relationship between gastronomy and your electronics? You have studied something. Is there any relationship between them? So gastronomy and electronics. The candidate's first response will be repeating the question, because you are not able to make sense of the question, right? So it is unexpected. You repeat the question. So don't repeat the question. Repeat within your mind. But the first point always should be answer itself. Okay. So those people come across as like as if so they haven't understood the question. They come across as stupid, like when you repeat the question, keep repeating the question. You people don't. Everyone has cleared here, right? Except like 1 or 2 people. Good to see more number of people here, and online also so many are watching it. And I'll be starting mock interviews from tomorrow itself. Okay. So in a day I'll take like 12 to 14 marks. So before result I was doing it relaxingly, right? With few candidates. I'll be able to accommodate more number of people, and then if you want multiple marks, I'll be able to do that also. So in Bangalore I'll be here till from tomorrow to I think till 15 December I'll continuously do here. After that I'll again go to Delhi. There 5-6 days I will do in Delhi. Again we'll come back to Bangalore and again start here. 4-5 days I am taking leave in between. So my kids and wife have leaves like last week of December. Again from January 2nd onwards it's marathon, continuous, right? So you can give multiple marks if you want. And my suggestion is that while taking marks, be really very, very careful. In other places with other people, so there are some people who have never been to interview, right? It can be founders of some institution, experts in the institution. They try to take one-on-one marks, give one-on-one. I believe to guide in the interview, you should have that experience first of all, right? It is not knowledge-based experience where you can just focus on the knowledge. Many of the people try to focus on the knowledge. Your current affairs is weak, go and read more current affairs, right? Your knowledge about your city is weak, you go and read more about knowledge. The feedback should be focused on the personality rather than on the content part, right? Secondly, there will be some panel marks who are trying to do it more for their YouTube than for actually helping you with respect to helping you improve. And there will be people who will be doing mocks to capitalize on the fact that most of you are going to crack it, so that you have never been to their institution as part of prelims or mains or something. Now interview, even if you fill form, later they will claim your result. The purpose is only that. So for the namesake, they will interact with you for a few minutes. They will send you, they want another candidate, they will send you, right? So this might be happening somewhere. So especially in Bangalore, it happens. So my suggestion is, in Bangalore, don't give panel marks anywhere, right? In Delhi itself, there are good institutions, only specialized in interview, right? Anyway, they will claim, let them claim, but we will also do. I am not a saint here, right? But in Delhi, they will do it sincerely. So they bring very good officers, from different fields, Indian Foreign Service, Indian Administrative Service, IPS, very good names. So they, and again within that there are few celebrity names who go to some big edtech companies who are also conducting, right? My suggestion is not to go there. So there are institutions, I will suggest, like 4-5 institutions. They are neither our, they may be our competitors or whatever it is. I will still recommend their names because they have genuinely helped many candidates. So that exposure to huge experience and actual environment of interview is very important before giving the interview. And at least minimum 15 days before your interview, go to Delhi, right? I mean, that is for the exposure part. If you haven't been to Delhi, if you haven't taken panel mocks, you should go to Delhi. If it is, from Karnataka Bhavan is a place where you can stay up to 1 month, right? So there will be so many people like you from Karnataka who will be there in Karnataka Bhavan giving interview. We can have healthy discussions there. Whenever I come to Delhi, I visit Karnataka Bhavan. Last 2 years I've been doing that, because over the course of few days, all of you will become more, some of you are already very familiar, so others will become familiar, so we can just have, confidence building kind of conversation. Doesn't matter how much you prepared, that nervousness will be there, little nervousness before the interview, right? So in these following days, you have to conquer that nervousness, little anxiety, right? So when you go to interview, even if the person who is coming out of the interview hall is scaring you, you know that you are made to wait outside the interview hall. One person is undergoing, interview. So when he walks out, he can be a happy person or he can be a depressed person, right? So if he is a happy person, he'll give double thumbs up and say, it's a very good board, go. Your confidence, boosts. So you will feel happy. If he is somebody who has screwed up his interview, right, then the face will be red, that fear will be there. Don't look at that person, right? I mean, they might look at you, don't ask anything to them, right? So it happened with me. So the person who walked out before was all shaking, he was so nervous, and he said, "Both buri board hai." So he should have just gone silently, right? Why didn't he? Why he had to give me feedback? बहुत बुरी हालत हुआ, so some North India बहुत बुरी बोर्ड है करके he walked out. So I had such kind of my own nervous poor experience before real entry in mocks. My mind was prepared, I went there with the self talk saying that I have absolutely nothing to lose in this world, right? So जो भी lose करना था खोना था, everything had happened in my life. So I'm just going there to have a conversation. It is climax in my life, मतलब in this UPSC life. So when I walk out, I just want to walk out with lifetime experience of having a good even today I remember, like the questions, the experience, their faces, the panel, what happened on that day, like 12 years ago, right? So you will also have that similar experience. So go with a positive mindset of enjoying that moment, right? Go with a positive mindset of cherishing it throughout your life. You cannot forget it. It will be part of your life, right? And remember, you can actually get a rank. So don't forget this fact. So this is entirely under your control. This is unlike prelims or mains. It entirely depends on you right now, right? So where you can just 20-25 minutes and next 30-35 years is done, like it is secured. Whatever the job you get, all jobs are good at the end of the day. 25 minutes will give you 35 years of satisfaction, life, job security, financial security, and something that cannot be explained, your family status, the respect you people start getting, your family start getting. So this cannot be measured, all happens in the course of this 25-30 minutes. So for that you have minimum, I think 20 days for that, minimum 20 days, assuming some of you will get first slot on the first day. Some of you will get actually, one or two of you will definitely get it, or first week. So in these 20 days, give everything you have. Forget everyone, everything. Focus on the interview. If it means working for like 15 hours, 16 hours, reading, interacting with people, and visit places, right? So depending on what you are going to mention, so visit different institutions, meet officers, just for the learning. So not to share anything, just to learn from them, how they think, how they behave, watch different debates, how people come up with opinions, how they articulate their views in different debates. Watch people very carefully, watch TED Talks, right? Fine. So wish you all the best. So I hope to see you repeatedly in mock tests, and then one day I hope to invite you for our big felicitation function, and then get a big photo, so to put it on a big wall here. Thank you. Huh? Certain? Oh, they will conduct it. 30? Then that is a blessing. Then that is very good. So he is saying, what he is saying is some insider info is saying that from 30th January interviews are going to start. It is logical. I mean, I was expecting from first week of January it will start. I was telling people from 2nd or 3rd January it will start, end by mid-March, and the result will be announced. So anyway, 3rd or last week of January we can assume, okay. So then I think as usual the result will come 10 days or 5 days before your prelims. So it is another reason why you should really prepare well for interview, right. Very unlikely you will clear prelims, after walking out of interview, right. So it is good then, that is nice. I can do more number of marks. So I have target of at least minimum 500 candidates this year, and I do justice to the marks I take. Like it is not like just for the sake of doing it. I think I am the only one who does multiple mocks for individuals. It doesn't matter who wants. So those who want, I'll do multiple mocks irrespective of who it is. Right? I have done for last 2-3 years like that. I like to do it. So as I said, I am passionate about this because I get to learn so many things while trying to share something with you people. So I believe any growth that can happen will happen only by interacting with more number of people, right? That you will realize, when you get into civil services. So there are two people, those who interact with more number of people, their career graph will rise. Those who do not interact, they isolate themselves, kind of remain stagnant, right? So that is how politicians rise, right? So all the best. Thank you.